Yes! Yes! Oh, man, it's Friday night. I'm sitting here. I'm talking football. Oh, man, I'm jacked up. Oh, man. Corey, a.k.a. the Red Sea, is here. He's jacked up. I'm jacked up. I'm very excited. You know what? In case you haven't seen it, it's Chiefs Lions, 19 days in a wake up. Just under 3 weeks. I'm very excited about this. Chiefs Cardinals are going to play tomorrow night. Very excited about this. You know what? I'm jacked up. Let me get some announcements out of the way. Next week, I'm going to do Miami, LA Chargers, Ravens, Vikings, and Jaguars. I'm going to have those 5 videos out next week, my 2023 NFL previews. Last week, I have to work this weekend. So it's just, I pick up my phone, you do this and you can't play on social media. And I had the Chiefs game on DVR and I wasn't even thinking. So I knew what happened before the game was over. So I was kind of like, it just drives me nuts when I already know the outcome before I watch the game. I like to kind of be surprised. So so what I'm going to do is right after the show today, I'm going to shut off all social media on my phone. So if you try to get a hold of me via social media, I probably won't turn it on my phone till Sunday, maybe Monday. So if you contact me on social media, I don't respond. It's because I'm going to delete it from my phone. So when I get off work Saturday night, I can just watch the Chiefs game. Have no idea what's going on. A few things I do want to talk about before I talk about Chiefs Cardinals. I'm a little surprised C.J. Stroud, he's starting the next preseason game for the Texans, but he hasn't been officially named the starter. I'm a little surprised about that. To be honest with you, I knew Bryce Young was going to be the starter early, even before training camp. He was going in as the number 1 guy. It seemed like they wanted to fast track him to be the starter. I really thought the same thing would happen to C.J. Stroud. Anthony Richardson is going to start week 1 for the Colts. I'm just going to say it. I think it's a big mistake. I think this is a big mistake. You get a guy who's raw. Is there a bug in my coffee? No, there's not. I think it's a big mistake. Raw, athletic kid, I think really needs some time to adapt. I think this is going to be a complete disaster for the Colts. I think if you're a Colts fan, who knows what's going to happen this year. I think it's going to be a disaster. I think starting a raw kid like that is just going to blow up. And I don't think it's good for the kid either. I think Anthony Richardson would be best developed by sitting for a year. I think, putting them in some sub packages, maybe a goal line stance, kind of like, that scrum play that Philly uses, quarterback sneak, something like that. 2-point conversion where you can maybe, run pass option, use them occasionally, little zone read action, get them used to the NFL speed. But I'm gonna say it. I think that this is a major mistake, starting him week 1. C.J. Stroud is not the starter, but he is starting next preseason game. I believe that's tomorrow, maybe Sunday. He will be the day 1 starter. I feel pretty confident about that. And that's kind of the day that we're in now. If you're a rookie quarterback and you're chosen high enough, you're going to get an opportunity to start. So that's kind of all I have. I'm going to keep this show short today, but any and all questions I will answer before I get off the air tonight. But I do want to talk a little bit Chiefs Cardinals. And I've said this a lot over the years, is that when you have a young first-time head coach, you usually play those preseason games just mean more. And when I say mean more, the outcome means more. It's more important that you get a W. I really fully expect now it's public. It's been said publicly Andy Reid's going to play his starters first half. I don't believe that to be true. I think what you're going to see is the starters play very little. Gooch, why isn't the talent on? Dude, I'm in a group text, man. I would have loved to have you on. It would have been great. I actually was. Keys hit me up. He's not going to join the show tonight. He's seeing a special Magic Mike the Musical. So I'm like, okay, I get it. I mean, I don't get it, but Keys is Keys. So, but man, I would have loved to have you on because I would have loved to know your opinion on the Chiefs and what's going on week 1. I would love to know what your opinion is for week 2. Corey, aka the Red Sea, I know he's really jacked up about week 2. So, man, I would have loved to have you on. Man, all you do is just hit me up. I would love to have you on. But anytime you get a rookie head coach, wins are so much more important in preseason because you're bringing in a new system. So your starters traditionally play a little more. A team like the Kansas City Chiefs, the starters are going to play a lot less. So even though it's been, I think ESPN reported that the Chiefs starters are going to play in the first half, that I don't expect that at all. Preseason really, to be perfectly honest with you, there's a few roster spots at the bottom of the roster that Kansas City is looking to fill, but the system, the scheme, everything's pretty much the same. I understand the offensive coordinator is gone, but the Cardinals, on the other hand, I really expect their starters to play more. I'm actually kind of excited to see the secondary with Isaiah Simmons, who played high school football about 10 minutes over there, how he's adapting. And I fully expect the Cardinals to win the game, but the most important thing is that nobody gets hurt. So, yeah, I know your starters didn't play much against Denver. This is a little different. Colt McCoy is probably going to play a lot more than Patrick Mahomes, but I'm expecting a lot more time this time. I think week 1 was kind of iron out some things. I think here against Kansas City at home, I expect your starters to play a lot more than Kansas City starters. And I fully expect Arizona to win this game. I would be shocked if Arizona didn't win this game. So, because if you do any preseason football betting, you want to bet on a rookie head coach versus a veteran head coach. And you're in for a treat because right before I joined the show, I did this. I think I'll do this here. There we go. I actually have action down on Arizona. I bet on Arizona right before I came on. Before I came on the show, I went ahead and I bet on the Arizona Cardinals. If you're looking at this correctly, it is a 7.5. Arizona is a 7.5 point dog, and I put money down. So I strongly suggest I did it, and I strongly suggest you do it as well. So this is why you tune in. But yeah, I got action on Arizona to cover 7.5. 7.5 is a big number for a home dog. So James, man, I'm glad you're here, brother. I'm glad you're here. 17 days in a wake up. Chiefs Lions. Luke G has confirmed that he's going to be on. If you come on my show, what I do is I send you an outline. I have a mental outline of everything I'm going to go over with Luke G, but I know he's jacked up. The Detroit Lions are not, I mean, that Kool-Aid is like 500 proof. with extra ecstasy in it. I mean, they are jacked up. I'm jacked up about it. I'm more interested to see our. I am too. I am too. But I think you're going to see Arizona starters play a lot more, and I fully expect Arizona to win. The blasphemy. Yeah, I know, Gooch. I understand, but I actually put action on Jacksonville in the AFC divisional round. I bet on Jacksonville to cover 8.5, which they did. I'm when it comes to betting on football and making money, I'm a cutthroat type of guy. You know, I mean, you understand. You have that cocaine dealership that you're opening up, so you get it. You get it. But yeah, I put some action on right before I came on the show, and I'm going to show you again. I have Arizona covering 7.5. By the way, if you're new to sports betting, what the plus 7.5 means is that if you're not familiar with sports betting, the way this works is that instead of score starting off 0-0, Arizona gets 7.5 points. So if Kansas City wins, for example, 7-0, I still will win because I'm going to cover 7.5. But I actually expect Arizona to win this game. I really do. And this is a good game to bet on. You have a home underdog that's probably going to play their starters a lot more than Kansas City will. So put some action down in Arizona, make some money. So you got the tip from Dan Talks Football today. I got a little bit of money stashed away. And, I put some action on Arizona. It took Denver's first-team offense 4 drives to score on our defense, led by Rallis, our defensive coordinator, and Gannon. Let's see how much of that was Denver being terrible, our team being well-coached. Well, I mean, you know, what I'm going to do next year is instead of doing 32 videos on teams, I'm going to do 8 comprehensive videos. And the reason why I say that is because when I did the videos this year, I decided to make them really short. And I'm kind of disappointed because I really like to rant and talk about things, but I think a lot of that could just be Denver really struggling. I don't think Peyton and Russell Wilson are a good match. I think it's going to take some time. I wouldn't read into that very well at all. I wouldn't read that much at all, to be perfectly honest with you. I think this week will be much more telling how they do against Mahomes and the first-team offense. One of the things that did bother me was that when the first preseason game against the Saints, they held the Chiefs' first-string offense out of the end zone. I think Mahomes played 2 drives, and they did not score. Keep in mind, Chris Jones is holding out due to a contract dispute. I wasn't really planning on talking about that too much, but one thing I didn't like was that they blitzed and they were not effective. Keep in mind, you have a very experienced quarterback in Carr. Saints offense coordinator Pete Carmichael's been there since I think he's been there with Sean Payton. I could be wrong, but he's been there at least. I'm gonna say like at least 15 years. So, it did bother me because the Saints outplayed the Chiefs starters pretty easily. So I wouldn't read into that, but I would read into how well your defense plays in the first quarter against the number 1 scoring offense from 2022, and I would say going into this year, I mean, the Chiefs are the best team in football. I mean, I'm not saying this because I'm a fan. I'm just saying, you come off a Super Bowl win. You got the best quarterback, who's the best player, Travis Kelce. I didn't subscribe to NFL Plus, but from what I understand, you have Mahomes, who was number 1. I don't know where Kelce was ranked in the top 10, and Chris Jones was ranked in the top 10. So you got 3 of the top 10 players. I said this when I had Gooch and Big Chief Sean and Keys on last week. I don't think the Chiefs can win a Super Bowl without Chris Jones. I really don't. Can they get to the playoffs? Can they win the West? Absolutely. But can they win? No, they can't. So, but I'm really curious how your the first 2-3 drives, how your defense does against Kansas City's offense, which is not going to play the first half, regardless of what you think. That's going to be very important. How your offense does against Kansas City is going to be interesting. I don't remember. I'd have to go back, and I'm not going to. I'd have to go back, but I don't remember Spags blitzing that much in preseason, and they did that quite a bit, and it was really ineffective. Really ineffective. But one of the things is about the Chiefs was that who I thought was the player of the game was our defensive tackle, Danny Shelton. I mean, he really played lights out. He was easily the best player on the Chiefs defense. He really played lights out. He's a guy who's going to – it'll be interesting because I'm not sure how much he's going to play or not want to play. Corey says if you guys don't want to pay Jones – Here's what's going to happen. Here's what's going to happen with Chris Jones. He's going to come into camp probably any day now. He's going to play this year, and then in 2024, he's probably going to play elsewhere. You know, I said that when the Chiefs signed Frank Clark, and I was wrong. But I just don't see how the Chiefs can pay Chris Jones. I really don't. And the best part is that this is a guy who started his career as a 5 technique, switched as a 3 technique. We played him a couple years ago when he had injuries to our defensive ends. We put him at defensive end. I mean, Chris Jones is really good. I'm a little biased, but I think he's the second best defensive tackle in football. So. Funk, what's up, brother? Funk, I'm going to show this to you in case you missed it. Right before I went live, I put some action down on Arizona to cover 7.5. So I actually have action on preseason football. Yes, I took Arizona. They played the Chiefs. So, but Funk, man, it's great to see you, brother. I'm glad to see you. Funk gets some love, and he deserves it. He deserves it. So, yeah. That's kind of all I got, to be honest with you. I'm just you get a special treat. I have action on the game. If I lose money, you can't talk trash. Well, you can. It's just I won't answer. I'm gonna have all my social media deleted right after the show tonight, and that's kind of where I'm at. So yeah, I'm jacked up. Less than 3 weeks to the regular season. I've been paying attention to the line. There's been a little action on Detroit. A lot of hype about Detroit. So week 1's going to be a lot of fun. Week 2, it's been public. Kinsey's going to play a lot of its starters. I really don't think that's going to happen. I think Arizona's going to play more starters. I think Arizona's going to win. I'm really excited to see Arizona's secondary. I really want to see that secondary. I want to see Isaiah Simmons and Budda Baker, how well they work together. With the Kansas City Chiefs, what I'm really wanting to see is I'd like to see less blitzing and see if the Chiefs can get after the quarterback with just their base 4, because they were not able to do that against the Saints at all. It really seemed like without Chris Jones, defense really just kind of stalled. So. Yeah, just a little action. It's not a big bet. I just took a screenshot and I chopped off the amount, some of the numbers on there. The main reason I did that is I don't know what you can duplicate, what you can't duplicate, but just a little action, not a lot. But it's a solid bet. I mean, you take a big home dog. That's a football betting 101. It actually this is it. All right, I'll go into a little detail here. College football, take a double-digit home dog. That's like betting 101. That's like I know a guy when I first started getting into sports betting. That's all he did is he just looked for a home double-digit dogs with college football, and that was it. That was all he did. That was like before he did anything else, he just circled those. And so when you get a home dog, 7.5 is a big number in the NFL. It's a really big number. and it's preseason. It's not a regular season game. If it was a regular season game, I mean, I can't say he probably covers that, but preseason, I don't think they're going to play much. It's a good bet. It's a good bet. It really is. I have a little bit of money stashed away for a rainy day, and that's what I used. Rule number one: don't bet your rent money. Don't bet. I call it a burn fund. It's money you can light on fire and not miss it. So if you're struggling financially, don't do any sports betting. But I have a little bit of a rainy day fund, and I saw 7.5. I'm like, yeah. But that's more for college football though. But this is a good bet. Arizona to cover 7.5. I didn't say win, but cover. I've been paying attention to that. I might put some action on Sky Moore. There's been a lot. I don't know how much you've been paying attention to Chiefs social media, if you even follow any Chiefs social media, but there's a ton of hype about Sky Moore. There's a ton of hype about a lot of the Chiefs wide receivers, but specifically Sky Moore. Because I can tell you right now, the Kelsey number is going to be high. I'm kind of hoping I can get like Sky Moore around 50, maybe 55. If it's anything over 60, I'll probably pass. But I think Sky Moore is going to have a big game week one. I can't remember it's you or one pride who calls him the sun god. I want to see. I think his number will be really high too. His number will be in the 80s. But I'm going to wait and see. I normally I wouldn't advise any prop betting week one, but I think a solid bet, and you might hate this. A solid bet is the golf passing yardage. You may be able to get like 255 for golf, and I'd probably take the over on that. So he may not he may not be here. I haven't heard from him. I hit him up this week, just texting him, but I haven't hit him up the last couple of days. Yeah, Denver Gators, great guy. I just know that I'm kind of excited because I have UCF Jaguar who's going to join Tuesday, week 2, when the Jaguars play the Chiefs. I'm really excited. I'm a big fan of UCF Jaguar. I haven't hit him up in a couple weeks, but I'll probably hit him up this week after I turn my social media on. But he may not be here. Raymond seriously upgraded his route running. I want to see his numbers week 1. Keep me informed. That number's 1. If I remember right, he's the Lions receiver who signed a 2-year extension just last week. And is he the one who had the big punt return against the Giants? Or am I thinking of somebody else? I think it might be somebody else. But if I remember correctly, Khalif Raymond, more of a returner guy. I know he signed a 2-year deal. Keep me informed what the number is. I'll keep an eye out. If you give me a heads up at the beginning of the show, what I'm gonna do is after I get off, finish the show, I'm gonna delete my social media off my phone because I have to work this weekend. I want to be surprised. Ideally, I'll be able to watch the Chiefs Cardinals, the whole preseason game when I get off work Saturday night. That may not be possible. So that's why I'm deleting all my social media. I might have to wait till Monday. So Sky Moore will probably be going against either Marco Wilson or Christian Matthew. I'm going to be honest with you. I don't think Sky Moore is going to play that much. I know that a lot of people think that the Chiefs are going to play a lot of starters, especially not at wide receiver, because Sky Moore's locked in, MVS is locked in, Travis Kelce's locked in, Kadarius Toney. I want to tell you is going to play against the Lions. That's up in the air. But the Chiefs have a lot of wide receivers that you really want to take a look at. One kid, and I'm drawing a blank on his name. kid out Fresno State, undrafted rookie free agent, had a solid week 1 preseason against the Saints. Injured, maybe out for the year. Justin Ross, also another guy that I think is going to. Justin Ross is a guy may play quite a bit. I've been urging Chiefs fans to kind of be low key on him. Now, Keys told me that he plays special teams. I don't recall him playing special teams week 1. If he's going to play special teams, he definitely makes the team. I don't think he is playing on special teams. So I'm not even sure he makes the team, even though he's been getting a ton of hype around the Chiefs community. Justin Ross will play quite a bit. I don't think Sky Moore will. Marco Wilson's a player I really liked. Christian Matthew, I'm a little embarrassed. I'm drawing a blank on him. Garrett Williams is still hurting. Kytrell Clark won't start on the outside. I was reading up about Kytrell Clark. If I remember right, rookie. Was he an undrafted rookie free agent? I don't think he was, but I know Clark's going to play quite a bit. And that's kind of the number one thing. Well, okay, there's a few things I'm looking at when I look at Arizona. The number one thing is I want to see what their secondary looks like. I want to see what Buda Baker, 6th round pick. That's what I thought. I was actually thinking he was 4th round pick. I don't have the Cardinals draft picks up right in front of me, but number one thing is I want to look at the Cardinals secondary. I want to see how Isaiah Simmons and Buda Baker work together, how they use them, how creative they're going to get. We're not going to see like the full arsenal of how they're going to use the safeties in preseason. I think when the regular season starts, I think you're going to see them move all around. But during the regular season, we're going to see quite a bit. That's the number one thing. Number two is I want to see what the pass rush looks like. Do they have a pass rush? How reliant are they going to be on blitzing? Are we going to see any blitzing? That's one thing the Chiefs did a lot of week 1. And I think that as long as Chris Jones is out, that's what the Chiefs are going to do. They're going to play a lot of man, blitz a lot, force mistakes or big plays. The Chiefs don't mind getting a shootout. I mean, look at who we got as quarterback. Gannon in Philly really didn't blitz a lot. He basically kind of rotated pass rushers, and that's kind of one thing I don't see a lot of in Arizona. So that's kind of the way I'm looking at things. I want to see what they do with that secondary, and then I want to see the pass rush. Colt McCoy's. I mean, he's probably, according to you, and I've been paying attention. I think he's going to be the week 1 starter. You'll be fine. Here's the thing: if everything else is perfect, you can win with Colt McCoy. Can you put Colt McCoy on a team with average or below average talent and win in the NFL? The answer is no, you can't. But he can hold the fort down for a few weeks, and that's kind of, from what I'm seeing, that's kind of all you're going to need him for. But he won't have to play a lot. I think he'll play more than Mahomes will. But anyway, yeah, Khalif Raymond's a guy. He's a guy. If he's your wide receiver number 4 or 5, I really like. If you didn't see it, Denzel Mims was cut, which I still think it's a great trade. Getting Mims, I stand by that, even though he's cut. Correct me if I'm wrong, but if you cut Mims in preseason, you don't lose that draft pick. Correct me if I'm wrong. Yeah, Mims got cut. You have Raymond, you have the Sun God, Williams when he's ready to play. I'll be honest with you, it wouldn't surprise me if Laporta plays quite a bit. You have to tell me, is Laporta the starter? Yeah, you have to tell me, did he win the starting job? I forget the other tight end you have, and he's not bad, but you may have Laporta start, and that would be interesting. I think Laporta might have a big day. You talked about Khalif Raymond week 1. You may be able to get something like under 20 for Laporta as far as receiving yards. That might be a better prop bet. I think You'd have to tell me, Corey, but I expect Buda Baker to play in this one. Not a lot, but I think you got to give him some preseason experience, and I think you got to get him in there with Isaiah Simmons. And I think Isaiah Simmons will play more than Baker, but I think you got to get both these guys in there. I would be shocked if Buda Baker didn't play at least one series. No, he doesn't need to play. He doesn't need to play, but I think this week he will. Now you tell me, I could be wrong, but I fully expect Buda Baker to play a little bit, and I think you got to get him in there because I mean you got some new starters in that secondary. So, Rouse blitz the ever living shit out of Russ and the rest of Denver quarterbacks. Don't know if that will continue for us. Really? Wow. I'm actually really surprised about that because I know that's not what Gannon did in Philly at all. So that's interesting because Kansas City blitzed a lot week one. Oh my God. Mike Ruth? You and Mike are watching? Mike, what's up, brother? Man. Oh God. I'm trying to remember. I saw the picture your brother posted about you and you and your sister, and God, man, I don't remember the last time I've seen Mike. I think it was 20 years ago in Lee Summit. You know, I can't tell the story, but I drove over there. I had a weird road rage type incident happen last time I went over there. It was really weird, but oh man. But yeah, I saw you and your brother and your sister on your brother posted on Facebook. I know you don't do social media, but Mike, man, hello, man. God, it's good to see you, man. I'm glad you're here. I don't have a lot of details, but I do have this. I'm going to share this again one more time. I got action on Arizona. I bet on Arizona to cover 7.5. Betting 101, take a home favorite or take a home underdog, a big home underdog that you think is going to win outright. And I fully expect Arizona to win outright this game. I think they're going to play their starters a lot more. This game's much, much more important than for Arizona than it is for Kansas City. I think Kansas City, I'll be honest with you, I don't even think any roster spots are going to be determined on this game, but I think some could for Arizona. But Corey would have to tell me that. I will be honest, I didn't watch the first preseason game against Denver, but that's really surprising to me. Really surprising to me. Yes, the pick swap's no longer available. Mims, yeah, that's what I thought. So, and that's why I like to trade, because if he doesn't make the roster, it's no big deal. But you bring in a guy who has a lot of ability, and somebody will pick Mims up between now and probably the start of the season. I mean, he's a talented dude. I don't know why he didn't make the team. I would love to know some more information. If you can share anything with me. In case you missed the beginning of the show, right after I end the show tonight, I'm just going to delete all the social media off my phone, probably until Monday. But if you have any information about why Mims didn't make the team, because this is a talented dude. I mean, big, tall, fast, had a 45-inch vertical at the combine. I remember at Baylor, he played really well. I just thought he would have some adjustment period because they were running that air raid offense where he only ran like 4 routes. And I blame the Jets more than anything else. But, to be honest with you, I thought if you'd cut Mims, you would cut him when Jameson Williams comes back. So I'd be curious, is it because somebody stepped up? Is it because you're planning on using a lot more 2 tight end sets? I'd love to know. But, I think Laporta – I'll be honest with you. It wouldn't surprise me. I can't think of who your tight end, your starting tight end is, but I think Laporta will play more than the other tight end. I'm drawing a complete blank. But you talked about Raymond getting some action. I actually think Laporta prop bet would probably be better one. It really baffles me because when I look at the Lions wide receivers after Jameson, I mean, you made a big move to trade up for Williams, and then you have Amon Ra. Khalif Raymond's a guy who I've always thought was the he's a great number 4, number 5 returner guy, but he's not really a number 3. You got the guy, was it Josh Reynolds out of Florida? I thought he might be a number 3, but James Mitchell and Brock Wright, and I'll be honest, Laporta will earn the starting spot sooner or later. He's really good. I really like Laporta. I had him rated. All right, this isn't going to make a lot of sense, but I had him rated below Michael Mayer, who was taken, I think, 5 picks later. The Raiders got him in the second round. He's probably going to be a day 1 starter for the Raiders, and I think he's going to be a great player. I really do. I think he's going to be an excellent tight end. For what I've seen of Detroit's offense, Laporta is a better fit, but I had Mayer ranked higher. Does that make sense? Sometimes you want to take a player who fits your scheme. Okay, for example, take Seattle. Okay, I just did my Seattle breakdown. They took Jackson Smith and Njigba. All right. I had Quentin Jefferson? Quentin Williams, the receiver out of TCU. I believe Quentin Johnson, I'm sorry. So I had Quentin Johnson rated higher. Okay. But for Seattle, who's going to use JSN more in the slot, that's a much better fit. So I like that pick better. Am I making sense? I have to go back and look, but according to if it's PFF, then it's wrong. PFF doesn't count, Corey. I don't believe anything PFF says. I have to go back and look, but according to PFF, 2 of the 3 most pressured quarterbacks on week 1 were the Denver Broncos. I'll be honest with you, this floors me that because Gannon didn't blitz a lot. And if you go back and you're like, hey, Dan, no, Philly had 70 sacks. They led the NFL by a large margin. No, they didn't do that with blitzing. They used it. Theo Reddick, off the top of my head, had 17 and a half sacks. He was on the outside. Another name freeze went to San Francisco. He had 10 and a half, I believe. I don't know what Fletcher Cox and Brandon Graham had, but you also had Josh Sweat. Philly didn't blitz a lot, so I'm a little surprised. Now this is what I'm kind of thinking, is that maybe they were blitzing to try some new things out, and that's a possibility. Kansas City blitzing a lot week 1. I think that they were doing that because they just wanted to get some pressure and force some one-on-one situations for the young corners. That's kind of the way I looked at it. It really bothered me that didn't work. So from the Chiefs defense against Arizona, I don't want to see them blitz. I really don't want to see Kansas City blitz. It wouldn't surprise me if Kansas City doesn't blitz that much against Arizona. And I think that they may be trying to see what they can get. FAU, Chiefs first round draft pick. He's bigger than I thought. And maybe it's because he wore, I think it was number 8 or 9 at K-State, and he's number 97. Just a 2-digit number may make him look bigger, but he's bigger than I thought. I thought he'd be a little undersized, might have to put on what I call the NFL 20. That may not be the case. I mean, he might be big enough to be a day 1 starter at defensive end, which the Chiefs aren't going to do. They're not going to just throw him out day 1, but he is going to play quite a bit against Detroit. He had a pressure. I can't remember if it was a sack or not, but he played decent. Danny Shelton really was the guy that really stood out. And he was probably the MVP of the Chiefs game. If you're not familiar, Danny Shelton, former first-round draft pick out of Washington, went to Cleveland. He's bounced around the league because he's big and powerful. He's just not very fast. He's like 350, 370, something like that. He's just you know, steal a phrase from Pulp Fiction. He's just a big Samoan motherfucker, you know, but he really played really well. And I'm kind of thinking that the Chiefs are going to use more odd fronts this year and just kind of clog the middle and just say, hey, look, we're just going to put pressure on you and go from there. So Reynolds will have to be the number 2 and Raymond be forced into the 3. Don't look past the Lions going out in a 22 and then more. Yeah, and that's exactly what I'm seeing. And see, here's the thing with you get Laporta and Gibbs. You could put Laporta, Gibbs, and Montgomery and you can go from a 2-back, 2 tight end, 1 wide receiver set to an instant 3-4 wide receiver set. And that's why I really like the Laporta pick is that, I mean, they didn't use them a lot blocking, but if you watch Iowa, they had just a boring offense. The only thing they really had was Laporta. I mean, this sounds mean to say, but their wide receivers, I mean, of all the oh God, what is it called? The Big 28 now? Out of the other 28 teams in Iowa's conference, their wide receivers are probably like, you know, the worst in the whole conference. So that's kind of the way I'm looking at it. Laporta was really the only option, and you really couldn't stop him. But he's a guy that, you know, he's going to be used a lot like Kelsey, where he's going to be called a tight end, but he's really just going to be split out wide. And Gibbs, he's a guy that I don't know why you guys didn't use DeAndre Swift this way, because the whole point of drafting a guy like Swift is to put him on the outside. And then the whole time you had him, you used him on the inside. Well, Gibbs, it looks like you're just saying, hey, look, we're going to call you a running back, but we're going to use you as wide receiver. And that's smart. You know why? Because guess what you're paying running backs versus what you're paying the wide receivers. You know, if you're, I mean, what was it? Saquon Barkley signed, what was it, $10 million deal? And what are the top receivers getting? They're getting 30. So what do? You draft a running back and, you know, you call him a running back, but you play him at wide receiver. But yeah, Laporta and Gibbs, they're just going to be receivers. And that's why week 1 is going to be a lot of fun. But yeah, I see that quite a bit. I see a lot of 2-back, 2 tight end sets, and then all of a sudden do a little motion, a little shifting. It's going to be a lot of fun. Week 1's going to be a lot of fun. I mean, hey, listen, man, I'm counting it right now. It's 19 days and a wake up. 19 days and a wake up. So I'm really excited about the game. Really excited about the game. No, it was full and cover 0 reps versus all Denver's quarterbacks. I'm really surprised. Now, don't get me wrong. They did a lot of cover 0 in Philly, but they didn't blitz a lot. And so if they're blitzing a lot, I'm a little surprised. And I'm kind of curious if when they play week 1, they play Washington week 1. I'm kind of curious. Now, what they could do is that Sam Howell, I don't know why. This was just announced on ESPN either today or yesterday. Sam Howell is been announced the starting quarterback, but that's old news. But I mean, there's no surprise that he's a young quarterback. So what Arizona could be doing, keep in mind, I mean, where did Gannon coach at? He coached at Philly, so he does have an understanding of what Washington's going to do. And of course, Eric Bieniemy, the Chiefs offensive coordinator. That's kind of an interesting thing, is how quickly is Sam Howell going to grasp Eric Bieniemy's playbook, because if he does a lot of the things they did in Kansas City has the most complex offense in the NFL by a very large margin. Is he going to bring the same complex offense, or is he going to be able to dumb things down? It's when I say dumb things down for Sam Howell, it's not that he's an unintelligent guy. He's just a young kid. I mean, he's 22. He has a look. He started the last game of the season against Dallas backups in a game that didn't matter. So I'm going to say he hasn't played any meaningful NFL action yet. So what do? You show Washington a bunch of looks that you're not going to use. That would be smart. But Gannon really didn't blitz a lot in Philly, so I'm really kind of surprised. But they play a lot of man. You're going to see a lot of cover 0, but I'd be really shocked. I'd be really shocked in the regular season if you guys are going to do a lot of blitzing. I'd be really, really surprised. But I'm going to pay attention. That's actually a low key game that not a lot of people are going to pay attention to. Washington against Arizona, but I'm going to pay a lot of attention because those are two teams that a lot of people think aren't going to be that good this year. One of those teams is going to be 1-0, and it's going to be a big story. Arizona. There's a guy I sent this to Keys. A guy that does sports betting, he made two separate bets on under 5.5 and then under 5 wins for Arizona. And now I'm looking at it, I'm like, man, if Kyler Murray comes back early and they win week 1, I mean, he probably lost the bet. So this is one of the best sports bettors in the country. So I don't bet against him often. Matter of fact, I think he's a Bears fan. He took heavy action on under 6 win. I think it's under 6 or 6.5. And he's a guy I'm dying to get on the show. He's just, I just haven't asked. And he's a big time sports bettor. There's a lot of people in the sports betting market or media or social media that I don't even blink an eye if they disagree with me. And I'm not going to name names, but if you go to if you watch my last video on my phone, I have DraftKings, Barstool, which is going to be ESPN Bet. I don't know when the website's going to change or the app's going to change, and Caesars. I have all 3 apps downloaded. I have accounts with all 3, and they have public personas that do their advertising. They have commercials all the time. The DraftKings commercials are kind of cool. They had Kevin Hart, obviously not big time better, but anytime these people have promotions or bets or anything like that, I don't blink an eye. The guy I'm talking about, I'm not even going to give you his name because I'm going to see if I can get him on live and kind of do like a tutorial 101. Some things he looks at because he's a guy I could learn a lot from. But if I make a bet and he does something different, I automatically kind of look back and retrace, and I do some research. This wasn't just some guess. I mean, this is some research. This is one of the smartest sports bets that you can make, taking a home underdog and 7.5 in the NFL, because I really do. I fully expect Arizona to win this game. And we'll find out next Friday if I'm richer or poorer. So we'll find out. But that does surprise me, and I'm glad you're here. I'm glad you told me that, because I would have told you that it's going to be complete opposite, where you see Kansas City blitzing a lot, Arizona not blitzing at all. I do think that Kansas City blitzing I'd be shocked if they did it this preseason, or I'm sorry, this game, because I think that they want to see the Chiefs get more one-on-one pressure, because Chris Jones obviously isn't going to play. And it's still up in the air if Chris Jones is going to play week 1 or not. So, because the line's been dropping. A lot of sports books are at 7 for Chiefs Denver, and I'm seeing 6.5. And a lot of it has to do with Detroit Lions. The Detroit Lions hype right now is just crazy. It's just crazy. I went on Luke G's show a couple of weeks ago. I was floored. I had no idea. I thought that train was going like 30 miles an hour. It's going like 500. So, So hopefully I'll be able to watch the entire Chiefs game Saturday night when I get off work. But worst case scenario is going to be Monday morning. So I'm not going to be able to, if you hit me up, Corey, I'm just not going to be able to respond, at least on Monday. So, but that's pretty much all I got. I told you I was going to keep this show short and sweet. I don't have a lot to say. I'm a little surprised that Anthony Richardson was named the week 1 starter for the Colts, and CJ Stroud will be named the starter. That's kind of the biggest news. There's some other NFL news. I'm kind of staying away from that right now, because I kind of want to wait till things get finalized. Next week, I am going to have my next 5 breakdowns. I'm going to have Miami, the Chargers, the Ravens, the Vikings, and the Jaguars. I'm going to have those 5 breakdowns. Also, I'll break down preseason game number 3. If I'm correct, I'm like 96% sure it's Cleveland, which has been kind of a hot topic lately. Dorian Thompson-Robinson, just phenomenal job. With what he's done as he made a roster spot. Yeah, he made a roster spot, and they'll play against the Chiefs. So we'll see a lot of him week 3 against Kansas City. So listen, I'm going to keep this show short. If you haven't yet, I don't have it in the description below, but my Seahawks breakdown was released a few hours ago. Check out the Seahawks. I've done the first 20 teams. Check out all my breakdowns. The videos are short. I did this on purpose because I want everybody just to be able to check out the previews. I just give 3 likes, 3 don't likes, over under odds, schedule. Each video, I think the longest video I have is 8 minutes on the teams, just short and sweet, but they're all pretty good videos. Please check them out. Any final thoughts, questions, anything before I end the stream here? You know what? I normally don't do this, but I feel kind of bad because I've been looking forward to this all week, but I don't have too much to say today. Home field advantage. So he sent me something. Yeah, the home field. Yeah, it's on. Yeah. Yeah, it's okay. Here's the deal. I get it, but this is preseason only. When you have a veteran team versus a team with a new head coach, those preseason wins are so much more important. So that's why I strongly suggest that oops, sorry about that. I took that down. So I apologize. I took that down. But anyway, Arizona will. I think that they're going to win. So I covered 7.5. I'm not saying it's not, but for preseason, this is just betting 101. When you have an experienced team against a rookie first-time head coach, usually that rookie first-time head coach is more concerned about winning the game and trying to get an established winning atmosphere into the organization. That's why this preseason game is important. Now, as far as regular season's concerned, having a rookie first-time head coach is a disadvantage. But in preseason, it's an advantage. I firmly think Arizona will win, and I get 7.5 points on top of that. And even though ESPN and a lot of other news sources are saying that Andy Reid's going to play his starters first half, I'm telling you, you're not going to see Mahomes, Kelsey, and a lot of the starters much past the first quarter. I think it's going to be a lot more likely because Arizona's bringing in a new offensive and defensive scheme that you're going to see a lot of those guys play into the second quarter. You'll probably see a lot of starters in the third quarter. That's kind of what I'm expecting. But thank you for sending me that chart, though. By the way, anytime you can send me some stuff on social media, my links are below. Even though right after the show, I'm going to delete all my social media because I don't want to look on my phone and see if I won my bet or see the outcome of the game. I just want to watch everything live and unfold as it does live. So if there's any other questions, anything else, I'm going to go ahead and end the stream. But follow me on social media. Please follow me on social media and check out my previews. I got 20 teams down, 12 more to go. And and don't forget, starting in September, I'll be live Tuesdays and Fridays. So everybody have a good weekend, and I'll see you back on Friday.